Coming to the today's class, that is mental health. So why mental health is important? First question coming to that, why mental health is now considered a serious thing and why it is important? কতজন হচ্ছে কি এখানে, how many of you can claim that we are all mentally stable? Anyone? No one. So what do you call yourselves, mad or diseased? Whatever. All of you are depressed. Mass depression is not possible. Okay, why it is important? Because right now we have recognized that we all are affected, all are affected by some external stimuli, not in the physical portion but in our mental psyche. Okay, our psyche is affected by some external stimulus which can be prevented if we try. That's why the mental health, apart from psychiatry, has got a place in our preventive medicine. So first of all, we have to understand what is the mental health. What do we mean by mental health? Health, we all know that it is not merely the absence of disease but a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. So what mental health refers to? A sound mind in a sound body. What is a sound mind? What is the characteristics? We come to it later. So whatever in the ancient times also we understood the importance of mental health, not in our Indian text but also other texts, also in other mythological characters, mental state is very much important. Then what are the scopes? We all are living in a society now. Human is a societal animal. So what is the scope of mental health? We have to keep the relations. It helps to keep the relationship with the community, with the society and with the social institution. What is the social institution? Law and order. These are the social institution. Usually পাগলে দেখবে আইনও মানে না, ঠিক আছে নাকি বলে? We all know what is section 84, section IPC 84. What is IPC 84 in your FMT? PNS তার মানে ভারতীয় ন্যায় সংহিতা। তোমাদের ওইটাই পড়তে হয়। You do not know what is McNaughton's rule? No? Hope your MCQ making institution knows that you also have to read only BNS. Okay, so previously in IPC 84, which was known as a McNaughton rule, it states that no one, if he can prove that he was not in the perfect mental condition during the time of crime, he will not be prosecuted by the law. সহজ কথায়, যদি তুমি ক্রাইমটা করেছো, তুমি যদি প্রমাণ করতে পারো সেই সময় তোমার মেন্টাল স্টেট হচ্ছে কোনো কারণে অন্যরকম ছিল, you were not in yourself. In simple, you were not in yourself. By it might be under influence, but the substance use should be non-voluntary. মানে তুমি যদি অ্যালকোহল খেয়ে, একদম সহজ কথায় সালমান খানের কেস, ঠিক আছে, গাড়ি চাপা দেওয়া হয়েছিল, যদি দাবি করতো যে আমি আমাকে কেউ জোর করে ওই দিনকে অ্যালকোহল কনজিউম করিয়ে দিয়েছিল, সেই জন্য আমি নিজের মধ্যে ছিলাম না, আমি তারপর গাড়ি চালিয়ে ফেলেছি ভুল করে এবং 4 জনের উপর দিয়ে বেরিয়ে গেছে গাড়ি, তাহলে এর ম্যাকনটেন্স রুল অনুযায়ী সালমান খানকে প্রসিকিউট করা যেত না, কিন্তু যদি বলতো না আমি নিজে জেনে বুঝেই খেয়েছি, then he will be prosecuted. This was the simplest version, exact version হয় নাই, but IPC 84 as known as McNaughton rule, it was asked too much. Okay. Okay, coming to what are the impact of mental health. A mental health influence how a person lives and works, uses his leisure time, earns and spends money. If you see that some of your known person spends too much money on a specific shopping item, probable bags, thousands of bags he or she has. Is that a mental condition? Do you know that? What is that? Shopping, shop alcoholic, that was the word, but it also has a specific scientific name. Anybody know that? No, sir. OCD is, I don't know, have that Leonardo DiCaprio, he was washing his hands too much time. Finally, the blood also comes out. I cannot remember the movie name right now. But in your home also, probably your mother is too much obsessed about the neat and cleanliness. That is also borderline OCD. But to understand and diagnose OCD, you have to read psychiatry perfectly. And also perceives happiness, security and stability. অনেকে সব আছে তারপরেও বলে আমার তো নেই, জীবনে অনেক কষ্ট, same thing. So that is why mental health is influenced others. So mental health, what is the definition of mental health? WHO also gives a definition that mental health is a state of well-being in which an individual realizes his or her abilities, can cope with normal stresses, can work productively and can contribute to the community. So a person has to do productive work and contribute to the society. If a person, a physically well enough person is not doing that, so we have to think about his mental health aspect. And the productivity comes the monetary concept also. A person has, if not performing in perfect mental condition, he will underperform and the productivity will be lost. That is why the mental health aspect is that much important. Okay. So what are the characteristics of healthy person? Dekho, out of 3 কতগুলো মেলে? Are you comfortable with oneself? The person feels secure, confident and realistic about his abilities. He accepts his strengths and weakness without guilt. আমরা অনেকেই হাজার চেষ্টা করলেও আর ঋত্বিক রোশন হতে পারবো না। Are you okay with it or not? That is the question. যাই করি আমরা যতই ফেস ওয়াশ ঘষি আর ফর্সা হবো না, ঠিক আছে? আর যা যা আছে প্রোডাক্ট আমি অত, সিম্পল থিং, কতজন এর মধ্যে রিলেট করতে পারছো সেটা ভেবে দেখ। রাইট অ্যাটিটিউড টুয়ার্ডস আদার্স, হি শোজ ইন্টারেস্ট ইন আদার্স, ফর্মস অ্যান্ড মিনিংফুল রিলেশনশিপ, loves and trusts people and feels part of a group without losing individuality. কয়েকজন আছে, I don't know about your friend circles, but দেখবে এমন কেউ আছে যে always mimicking the another person. He probably does not have his or her own personality or opinion. সবেতেই হ্যাঁ বলছে, যদি উপর থেকে ঝাঁপ দিতে বলা হয় হ্যাঁ চলো ঝাঁপিয়ে দিলাম। These are also, actually the person is probably suffering from identity crisis. That is why he or she behaving like that. This is the things. You all are going to be a doctor. Please see among your friends, relatives and others that if you identify this, you can take steps. There are some simple steps, okay? And what is the third? Able to meet demands of life. He can handle daily responsibilities, solve problems as they arise and adapt to life situation. আজকে এরকম ছিলে হঠাৎ করে সিচুয়েশন চেঞ্জ হয়ে গেল, প্রবাবল হচ্ছে ধরো কিছু হলো, সাপোজ ইউ আর রাইট নাও এ হ্যাবিটেট অফ ইসরায়েল, দিব্যি ছিলে হঠাৎ করে ইসরায়েল announced war against Iran and there was missile exchange. Okay, so then you have to cope with the situation, you have to do survival techniques and everything. If you cannot, then probably you have some mental problems. Okay, so another thing, that is independent thinking. He thinks for himself, takes independent decision and sets realistic goals. Actually all these things are part of two, but main point is one. That is why it is written like that. Okay, what are the fifth one? That is emotional balance. He or she is not overpowered by emotions like fear, anger, guilt or love and expresses emotions appropriately. ব্রেকআপ হয়েছে, দরজা বন্ধ করে দুদিন বন্ধ, বা ইন কেস অফ এক্সট্রিম সিচুয়েশন, উই অল সি দ্য নিউজ পেপার, দেয়ার আর সাম সুইসাইডস, অ্যাটেম্প টু সুইসাইডস. ডু ইউ থিঙ্ক দিস ইজ নর্মাল? Obviously not. You can sympathize with their situation, but in your core you have to understand those people have probably suffering from some mental conditions. Probably, not always, but there are chances always. Okay, and what is the sixth one? Again the economic thing. He performs his duties responsibly and contributes positively to the society. তো যা খুশি হয়ে যাক, কাজটা করে যেতে হবে, ঠিক আছে? So if we have the characteristics, then we have to develop some warning signals. Okay, what are the, when we recognize okay probably he is suffering from something, we have to have some red flags, and this actually came in your in your seniors MBBS exam. Okay, warning of mental health. We also studied some warnings of cancer. 10 points also was there, na? Unexpected loss of weight, this that. মনে আছে কারো? 10টার মধ্যে 5টাও at least. আরো cardinal sign of TB, presumptive TB, cardinal signs of presumptive TB. মনে আছে? পারবে লিখতে? ওই এরকম ফিভার বললে আমিও বসিয়ে দেবো আয়ুষের ইয়েতে। হ্যাঁ, এগুলো সব কাটতে হবে, আয়ুষ ফায়ুষকে এসব বলা উচিত নয়। হ্যাঁ, কিন্তু এরকম ফিভার বললে হবে না। কি ফিভার? ফিভারের ক্যারেক্টারিস্টিক্স কি? হ্যাঁ, লো গ্রেড ফিভার উইথ নাইট সোয়েটস। তারপর কাশি কি? হিমোপটোসিস। কটা টিবি পেশেন্ট দেখেছো? অ্যাকচুয়াল আমি লাইফে বলছি আমি 2টো পেশেন্ট দেখেছি। আই হ্যাভ চেকড হান্ড্রেডস অফ টিবি পেশেন্ট। হিমোপটাইসিস নিয়ে হয়তো 2টো কি 3টে পেশেন্ট আছে। বাংলা সিনেমা চলছে না, তাপস পাল হচ্ছে কি খক খক করে কেসে গেল আর হলো। আজকে সব এডিট হবে ভালো করে, যাই হোক। So you do not write in your copy like that. Okay, please. Not cough, dry cough. Huh? Okay, so first warning signal is always worrying. How to describe it? Persistent and excessive worrying even when there is no real problem, and also when the situation is under control. I will expect এটা হয়তো আর আমাদের নেক্সট এক্সামে আসতেও পারে, নাও আসতে পারে, I am not sure, because mental health is an important thing and it was a trending in our time that previous year এর কোশ্চেনের at least একটা কোশ্চেন again repeat হতো নেক্সট ইয়ারের এমডি তেও। তো প্রবাবলি এটা হয়তো এলো, আদারওয়াইজ এবারে ওয়ার্নিংস অফ মেন্টাল হেলথ এসছে, নেক্সট টাইম ইউ গেট NMHP or their objectives and those things. Okay, so what is the example? A school teacher keeps worrying that she will lose her job despite good performance and appreciation from the seniors. তো যখন যেটা বলতে যাচ্ছিলাম যে when you write this, please do not write only this, always worrying. give it some example. Okay, it looks good. Probably it will take 10 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes more. 10 point likhte you take only 5 minutes, but if you write with this like this, it will take 5 more minutes. But it will be good to see. What is the second thing? Inability to concentrate, difficulty focusing on tasks due to unknown or unexplained reason. What's the example? A medical student sits with books for hours but cannot concentrate on reading even simple topics. কতজন রিলেট করবে? সবাই হাত তুললে তো বিপদ হবে। I will relate to this. This was my condition when I first studied FMT. Okay, cannot understand in the world why this is important. No, FMT, I did not tell you. CMA hote pare, we all have. Even in the very first year, you all probably go through that phase. Every book is there. Some in anatomy you have embryology book, histology book, osteology books, and then there is other সময় কি বিডিসি চল না একেডি বিশ্রাম সিং, আচ্ছা সেও বার করেছিল আমাদের সময়। যাই হোক, একেডি ছিল, বেঙ্গলি রাইটার, প্রচন্ড মোটা বই, প্রচন্ড ভাস্ট। আর ছিল বিডিসি চৌরাসিয়া, খুব সুন্দর পড়া যেত। ফর অস্টিওলজি দেয়ার ওয়াজ সমর মিত্রা and also this that. আর কি ছিল? এমব্রায়োলজি, অস্টিওলজি, whatever. Continuous unhappiness, feeling persistently sad or dissatisfied without any identifiable life problem. Probably in your OPD you can get this some patients that in your medical examination he or she appears perfectly fine, but he will complain, oh sir, I have some problem, my health is not working perfectly. Or probably that is much more common. A mother comes with baby claiming that baby is not well. On examination you will see the baby is perfectly healthy, he is gaining all the milestones, his nutrition is good, but still the mother will complain, no, my baby has some problem. He or she will not eat, and like that. Some examples also, this is also a very much common thing now. Young adult feels unhappy every day despite having a stable job and a supportive family. This is too much common now in the those who are started earning at a young age. Okay. Fourth thing, losing temper easily, frequent outbursts of anger over minor issues, showing poor emotional control. What example? A father becomes angry when his child spills water or asks simple question. Again, regular insomnia, difficulty in falling or staying asleep on a regular basis. Sixth one, wild fluctuations in mood, rapid mood changes from depression to excitement and back, affecting daily functioning. What is the example? A person feels extremely energetic one day and deeply sad in the very next, and it interferes with works and relationship, obviously, because if a man is like this, his or her productivity will surely affect. So what is the next one? Dislike being with people, avoidance of social interaction, and preference for isolation. Probably some of your relatives or in family you have seen that if a result in HS or madhyamik result মনের মতো হয়নি, ঘরের মধ্যে দরজা বন্ধ করে বসে আছে, as an initial reaction that is acceptable, but if it continues for 2 or 3 days then it's a alarming. Also again, upset when routine is disturbed, excessive distress or anxiety when daily routine is hampered. If you are a planning person, you have obviously a daily routine or daily calendar that ei time e ami eita korbo. Anybody have seen Big Bang Theory web series? Yes, Sheldon Cooper has a specific bathroom time, and if it is hampered then we will show a tantrum. That was also an example. Okay. Okay, children getting on nerves, persistent irritation and lack of patience with children's normal behavior. যদি বাচ্চাদের চিৎকার চেঁচামেচি শুনে একটুতেই রিয়াক্ট করে, and if that person becomes a primary school teacher, what will happen? Person who cannot tolerate children, as a very fate, he becomes a children's primary school teacher. What will happen then? 10th, constant bitterness, persistent negative outlook and dissatisfaction with life. It is very common in elderly. Elderly man repeatedly complains that nothing good ever happens to him. Or যেটা সব থেকে বেশি হয়, আমাদের সময় গোল্ডেন টাইম ছিল, এখনকাররা সবাই ফালতু। It was very common. 11, fear without any real cause, unrealistic and unexplained fears not related to actual danger. Always right attitude, rigid thinking where a person believes he is always right and others are wrong. 13th, numerous aches and pains, multiple physical complaints without identified medical reason. You can see this type of patients in your OPD. আমার গোটা গায়ে ব্যথা করছে, কোনো আঘাত বা চোট পেয়েছিলেন? Have you got injured? No injury, but my entire body is aching. Please give me some paracetamol or anything else. Also, I have suffering from insomnia and that. So, what are the warning signals? Probably it was supposed to filled up by you. If I ask you now, can you tell at least 5? Huh? It was supposed to be filled up by you actually in the board. I am worrying. Any 5? কেউ উঠে গিয়ে আরে বলতে হবে না, গিয়ে লেখো। তাও কে যাবে? Anybody wants to write? At least আমি 13 I have discussed 13 points. Any 5? 4? Any 4 you have to write in the board. Single upper word. I told you now you have to. That is why I am telling you to pay the attention. Whatever, now you all know what is the mental health. At least you can understand or you have some idea about what is mental health, why it is important, what are the characteristics of a normal person, and what are the warning signals or red flags. Coming to the national programs. So, understanding this, our government also thought, okay, we have to make a national program regarding this. So, what did we do? We collected data and we launched a program based on some objectives, aims, strategies and goals. What is the correct order? What will come first? Goal, aim, objective or strategy in a program? Okay, then aim is first, then goal is second, third? No sir, not strategy is the third. Obviously we have to have a specific objectives, and to achieve the objectives we have to write some strategy. Okay, so what we launched, that national mental health program. Okay, when it is launched 1982, and under it we launched DMHP, that is district mental health program. Unlike any other program, where is the difference? Understand, in every program you also saw a state cell, but what we did in the NMHP, we directly launched district mental health program, and every district is responsible for maintaining the mental health of the persons living in those districts. Okay, it will not be a matter of state matter. The data will not go up to state. It probably got sent into national level, but the state level there will be no cell. A district is solely responsible for the inhabitants of its own for their mental health. Simple. This is the structural difference of NMHP between the others. Any TB or NLP or HIV, there will be no state cells. Okay, and this is based upon the Bellary model. Bellary is a probably a village in UP. I cannot remember now. What is the Bellary model? It's a community-based service for the delivery of basic mental health care using short term, that is 9 days training for diagnosis and treatment of prevalent mental illnesses with the aid of a limited number of drugs with support and guidance from specialists. Remember this thing, that what is the Bellary model? It will be a training program where trainees will be trained for 9 days and they will be provided a specific number of drugs. Why that is? Because as you all know from your pharmacology class, that all psychiatric or antidepressant and anti-manic drugs are potent for sleep, and also these are the very good choice for attempting suicide. That is why there will be a very selective drugs which cannot be used for suicide attempt. Okay, and also these type of drugs have too much side effects. That is why we cannot prescribe them like other drugs. You cannot prescribe them like just the paracetamol. Okay, you have pain. Okay, eat paracetamol. These drugs have to be used in a proper way and with proper indication. Okay. What happened here? Health workers are trained in identifying mentally ill individuals. The same material that I showed you before is used. Okay. That same material is used, but it was some also elaborate. There was also case presentation and this, that, and that. Then grassroots level IC and simple record keeping. What is IC? I told you na, IC full form. So there will be some IC material. Why? What are the importance? Because mental disease are still very stigmatized like TB or HIV. This model was successfully implemented in the Bellary district with the help of from district administration and NMHP. You all know, you all heard about the NMHP. Probably one or two from your batch will go to study there. What are the main components of the DMHP at the Bellary model? Training of all primary care staff. Who got trained? Those who are grassroots level workers. Provision of 6 essential psychotropic drugs and anti-epileptic drugs at all the primary health center and sub-center. There was a system of simple mental health case records and system of monthly reporting, regular monitoring and feedback. The person should not be prescribed only once. There have to be a provision of multiple follow-ups and feedback also. And feedback from also the district level mental health team. At the end of the month, the district mental health team will go through your records and they will give you feedback. Okay, these you have identified correctly, prescription and these, okay, and this you have to change the medication and that. Simple. Feedback is, you all know what feedback is. What are the milestones? This actually do not important. What is the administrative level of NMHP? MOHW, then Director General of Health Services, Joint Director Mental Health, who actually underling of Central Monitoring Agency for DMHP and reports to MOHFW. Then there is Secretary State Mental Health Authority, then District Project Officer. Okay, this is the organogram. What are the objectives? to ensure availability and accessibility of mental health care for all, particularly to the most and vulnerable and underprivileged sections of the population. Also encourage the application of mental health knowledge in general healthcare and social development, promote community participation in mental health services, and which stimulate efforts towards self-help in community. The bold thing you have to write when you will write the objective, okay? Otherwise, it will bear no meaning. The strategies: integration of mental health with PHC, provision of tertiary care institution for treatment of mental health disorder, and eradicating stigmatization of mentally ill patients and protecting their rights through regulatory institutions like CMHA, Central Mental Health Authority, and State Mental Health Authority. These are the things which actually works only destigmatizing mental health issues, okay. These are not directly associated with the treatment and mental health program. They are only works on destigmatizing mental health issues. If you ask about what are the limitations of the National Mental Health Program, it gave more emphasis on curative components rather than promotive or preventive aspect. What we can do to prevent the mental health, that is not discussed here. These things I will discuss next class. Also, what are the limitations? Short-term goals were being given more priority. Administrative structure is not clear. Why we removed the state cell, it is not clear to everyone, and it is actually creating confusion in the feedback system. Also, the goals were considered too ambitious to start with, and there are also less attention for its feasibility and implementation. Actually, you all saw that goals are too much arbitrary also. We cannot achieve those goals easily. Then there is also risk of the initiatives dying down over a period of time, lack of human resources, and the problems of mentoring and monitoring. As this is still a stigmatizing thing, people usually do not follow back. These are the limitations, okay.